The Young and the Restless, Diane's heartbreaking confession, secrets, betrayals, and the unraveling truth. The Abbott Mansion, a symbol of power and wealth in Genoa City, is about to witness an emotional showdown that could change everything for Diane Jenkins Abbott and the Abbott family. After years of deceit, struggles, and a dramatic return to the fold, Diane is finally forced to confront the deepest, darkest fears of her life, her place in the family and her relationship with Jack Abbott. The walls of the Abbott estate will tremble as Diane opens up in a moment of vulnerability, revealing a secret that could unravel not only her marriage but also the foundation of the Abbott family's trust in her. Diane's road back into Genoa City was anything but smooth. Faking her death and then returning in a shocking turn of events, she has fought tooth and nail to regain the respect and trust of the Abbott family. Her tumultuous past and the strain of her return has meant that every step she takes toward reintegration is met with scrutiny. But after marrying Jack Abbott, the man who had been her anchor through it all, she thought that finally she could feel secure. Little did she know, the weight of her secrets, particularly those surrounding Martin Laurent, would cast a long shadow over her new life. In an unexpected and deeply emotional confession to Jack, Diane reveals the painful truth that has been eating away at her for so long. She feels completely ostracized, not only by her own family but also by Jack himself. This is no simple complaint about being left out of family dinners or social events. Diane believes that her marriage to Jack has not protected her from the ever-present distance between her and the Abbott family. The cause of this divide? Martin Laurent, the troublemaker whose chaotic presence in Genoa City was thrust upon the Abbott family by Tracy Abbott. Whether she realized it or not. The atmosphere in the Abbott mansion is thick with tension as Diane exposes the core of her anxiety. Martin's arrival has made her feel like an outsider, a constant reminder that her place in Jack's world is still fragile and uncertain. Diane's confession is raw and heart-wrenching, as she admits that she feels as though the family has made it clear they are unwilling to embrace her fully. "They've never truly accepted me, Jack." "Not really," she says, her voice trembling with emotion. "Even when I'm with you, I feel like I'm standing alone in a crowd." Jack listens intently, trying to process the weight of her words. His concern for Diane is palpable, but so are his doubts. Could this confession be a desperate cry for attention, or is there more to the story? As Jack grapples with his own feelings of betrayal, he can't help but wonder if Diane is telling him the whole truth. Could the fractured relationships between Diane and the family be the result of something far more sinister than just a lack of acceptance? The deeper Diane delves into her confessions, the more Jack begins to suspect that the situation with Martin may not be as simple as it seems. Diane's words are laced with hints of something far more dangerous. What if her sense of isolation is rooted in something darker? Could Martin Laurent's presence in Genoa City be part of a larger, more destructive plan? And if so, could Diane have known more about his involvement than she's letting on? The fact that she feels so excluded from the family's inner circle raises even more questions about her true role in the chaos that's unfolded around Martin. As Diane continues to pour out her heart to Jack, she becomes more and more vulnerable, her feelings of betrayal and fear completely exposed. She tells Jack that, while she may have made strides in rebuilding their relationship, the family's continued reluctance to embrace her has left her feeling invisible. In her mind, the Abbott family's ability to function without truly accepting her has reinforced the belief that she's not meant to be a part of their world. Meanwhile, Tracy Abbott, who inadvertently brought Martin Laurent into their lives, is left to process the enormity of the situation. Her own guilt over the mess Martin has caused weighs heavily on her shoulders. As she contemplates Diane's confession, Tracy becomes increasingly uncertain about her role in all of this. Should she reveal what she knows about Martin's past to the family, or should she protect Diane, the woman who, in many ways, is now tied to her own family by marriage? Tracy's decision to either expose Martin's secrets or keep them hidden could have catastrophic consequences, not just for Diane but for the entire Abbott family. Jack's mind races as he contemplates his next move. Could Diane's confession be the key to uncovering the truth about Martin's manipulations? What role does Diane play in the mystery that continues to surround him? As Jack starts to piece together the strange behavior of the Abbott family since Martin's arrival, he begins to question his own assumptions about Diane's loyalty. Could she, in fact, have been hiding more than just her own hurt feelings all this time? Jack's instinct is to protect Diane, but the more he learns, the more he wonders whether his trust in her has been misplaced. As the truth slowly unfurls, the Abbott family's carefully curated facade begins to crumble. The impact of Diane's confession will send ripples through the family, shaking their trust in each other to its very core. Will Diane be able to rebuild the fragile bond with Jack that has held them together, or will the haunting shadow of Martin Lawrence's secrets destroy everything she's fought for? Only time will tell if the Abbott family can survive the truth, or if Diane's darkest fears will come true, that, despite her best efforts, she will always be seen as an outsider in the very family she longs to belong to. The Abbott family is no stranger to turmoil, but nothing could prepare Jack Abbott for the emotional revelation his wife, Diane Jenkins Abbott, is about to lay at his feet. The secrets, the long-buried pain, and the uncertainty of her place in the family, all of it is about to come to a head in a confrontation that will leave everyone reeling. As the latest chapter in the Abbott family saga unfolds, Jack's love for Diane is put to the ultimate test. Diane, who has spent years fighting to reclaim her place in Genoa City and in Jack's heart, now finds herself vulnerable in a way she never expected. In a moment of raw honesty, Diane admits to Jack that despite their marriage, despite everything they've been through, she feels like a perpetual outsider in his family. The confession isn't just about the trivialities of family dinners or casual conversations, it's a deeper, more painful recognition of her sense of rejection and alienation. Diane's words are a devastating blow, not just to her but to Jack as well. This is a woman who has fought tooth and nail to be accepted into the Abbott fold after faking her own death and returning to Genoa City with more baggage than anyone could imagine. Her relationship with Jack has been a roller coaster of highs and lows, but now, in the face of this confession, she is more fragile than ever. But Jack's response is not as simple as a show of sympathy. While his heart aches for his wife's pain, he knows that this conversation is long overdue, and he can't ignore the complicated web of secrets Diane has been weaving. Jack, ever the protector of his family, is reluctant to admit it, but he knows all too well that Diane isn't exactly an open book. Her history of secrecy, both with him and with those around her, has always been a source of tension between them. As Jack listens to Diane's emotional confession, he can't help but feel a mix of concern and frustration. On one hand, he wants to embrace her, reassure her, and promise that everything will be okay. But on the other, he knows that Diane's history of withholding the truth from him has created a rift between them that can't simply be ignored. Jack isn't naive. He knows that their relationship has always been shadowed by secrets, and Diane's admission that she feels isolated is yet another piece of the puzzle that is their fractured dynamic. Jack doesn't immediately react with anger or blame. Instead, he chooses his words carefully, acknowledging Diane's feelings while also pointing out the truth of their situation. "You're right, Diane," Jack says, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. "You haven't exactly been an open book, and that's made it hard for me, for us, to move forward." The words hit Diane like a punch to the gut. She had hoped, maybe even prayed, that Jack would understand, that he would somehow find a way to bridge the gap between them. But instead, she is faced with the reality that their marriage, built on so many shared secrets and lies, is still fragile. Despite her vulnerability, Jack's insistence on addressing the past hits her like a sharp reminder of the walls she's spent years building around herself. Yet, in the midst of this painful confrontation, there is a glimmer of hope. Jack, despite his frustration, still loves Diane deeply. And while he may not have the answers or the perfect solution, he is willing to work on their relationship. He promises to make a greater effort to involve Diane in the Abbott family, to ensure that she feels included and accepted. "We'll figure this out, Diane," Jack says, his tone softening. "I want you to feel like part of this family, but it has to start with honesty. You have to trust me, trust us, enough to let us in." Diane, in turn, is moved by Jack's willingness to try. It's not the instant fix she hoped for, but it's a start, a small step toward healing the rift that has existed between them for far too long. But as much as Diane wants to believe Jack's promise, she can't help but wonder, Is this truly a genuine effort on Jack's part, or is it simply a desperate attempt to keep the remaining pieces of his family intact? At the same time, the timing of this emotional confrontation could not be worse. Jack is already reeling from the imminent departure of his beloved sister, Tracy, who is preparing to leave Genoa City and head to New York. Tracy's decision to leave is a blow to Jack, who has always leaned on her for support. Adding to the complexity of the situation is Ashley Abbott's own struggles, as she too contemplates a fresh start, leaving Jack to confront the possibility of losing even more family members. With Tracy and Ashley both preparing to leave, Jack finds himself at a crossroads. The last thing he wants is for Diane to feel alienated within his own family at this moment of crisis. His desire to keep his family united, even if that means shielding Diane from further hurt, will drive him to take action. But is Jack's determination to keep Diane in the family truly a selfless act, or is it a selfish effort to protect what little stability remains in his world? For Diane, the stakes are incredibly high. She has already sacrificed so much to be with Jack, to prove that she deserves a place in the Abbott family. But as Jack grapples with the impending loss of his sister and the strain of holding his family together, Diane fears that she may ultimately lose everything, including Jack. Can she truly fit into the Abbott family, or is she doomed to be forever on the outside, just as she's always feared? As Jack struggles to maintain the delicate balance between his love for Diane and his loyalty to his family, the emotional weight of Diane's confession lingers, casting a long shadow over their future. Will Jack be able to honor his promise to Diane and truly integrate her into the family, or will the fractures in their relationship prove too deep to heal? In the coming weeks, as the Abbott family faces more upheaval and Diane confronts her own inner turmoil, the question remains, can love, trust, and honesty truly overcome the weight of past mistakes and secrets, or will the Abbott family be irrevocably torn apart by the truths they've all tried so hard to keep hidden? The Abbott family is no stranger to drama, and the latest chapter in the saga of Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott is about to take a deeply emotional turn. Diane, after years of secrets and deceit, is finally confronting her painful isolation in the family, and she's ready to tell Jack everything. But what she doesn't expect is Jack's reaction, a mixture of understanding, frustration, and a sharp reminder of the history that has always kept them at odds. As Diane opens up about her feeling of being an outsider in Jack's family, the weight of her words is more than just an emotional release. It's a culmination of years of building walls, of keeping secrets, and of hoping that her dramatic return to Genoa City and her marriage to Jack would finally secure her a place in the Abbott fold. But instead of finding comfort and acceptance, Diane is confronted with the reality that the Abbott family has always kept her at arm's length, and Jack's decision to protect her from the harsh truths of his family has only made her feel more disconnected. Diane's confession comes at a time of immense pressure for Jack. His beloved sister Tracy is preparing to leave Genoa City for New York, taking with her Ashley Abbott as she seeks a fresh start and begins writing a new chapter in her life. Tracy's departure represents the beginning of a family fracture that Jack can hardly bear to face. As if that weren't enough, the emotional burden of Diane's confession forces Jack into a corner where he must reconcile his love for his wife with the truth about their broken family dynamic. Diane, vulnerable and raw in her admission, tells Jack that she feels like she's always been kept in the dark, not just by the Abbott family, but by him, too. Her pain is palpable, as she explains how she's tried so hard to fit in, to prove herself worthy of a place in the family, but every step forward feels like 2 steps back. She admits, with tears in her eyes, that she feels like a permanent outsider in a family she's married into, and her deepest fear is that she'll never truly belong. But this time, it's not just about Diane's hurt feelings. This conversation is a revelation for Jack as well. Diane's admission that she's been kept in the dark about so many aspects of family life forces Jack to face the truth of his own actions. He's always tried to protect Diane from the harsh realities of the Abbott family, hoping that by keeping her in the dark, he could shield her from the conflict and tension that runs through their veins. But Jack realizes, in this moment, that his decision to keep Diane in the shadows has only driven a wedge between them. The conversation quickly turns into a two-way street. Jack, though still deeply concerned for Diane's feelings, can't help but point out the reality of their situation. Diane has never been forthcoming with him about her own secrets. Her history of withholding information, of keeping him in the dark about the parts of her life she's tried to bury, has left him struggling to fully trust her. "You can't expect to be open with me when you've spent so much time hiding things from me," Jack says, his voice firm but not unkind. "I've tried to protect you, Diane, but it feels like you've always been a step ahead, holding things back." Diane flinches at the accusation, but she doesn't deny the truth of it. She knows Jack is right. She spent so much of her life hiding the truth, first by faking her death, then by keeping secrets about her past, about Martin Laurent and the role he played in the chaos that has followed her, that she's conditioned herself to believe that silence is the only way to protect the people she loves. But now, as she looks at Jack, she realizes that her silence has come at a cost that may be too high for her to ever pay back. The tension between them is palpable, and for a moment, it feels as though their marriage is on the brink of collapse. Jack's frustration is clear, but so is his love for Diane. As much as he wants to demand answers, as much as he wants to confront her about everything she's kept hidden, he also knows that Diane is hurting. Her sense of isolation, her fear of being rejected by his family, is real, and he can't ignore it. Jack takes a deep breath and softens his tone. "I'm not going to give up on you, Diane," he says, his voice quieter now, filled with determination. "But you need to understand something. You've got to be honest with me, with the family. We can't keep living in this, in-between space. You have to let us in." Diane nods, though the weight of her own guilt is evident on her face. She knows Jack is right, she can't keep pretending everything is fine when it's not. But can she truly open up, lay bare all of her secrets, and risk losing everything she's fought so hard to rebuild? The conversation ends in a quiet resolution, but the promise Jack makes to Diane to include her more in the family feels like both a gift and a challenge. As much as Diane wants to believe in Jack's commitment, she can't help but wonder. Is this truly a sincere effort to bring her into the family, or is it just Jack's desperate attempt to keep the last remnants of his family intact? The timing of Diane's confession couldn't be more critical for Jack. With Tracy and Ashley preparing to leave, the emotional strain of maintaining a fractured family is almost too much to bear. Jack's promise to Diane feels both like a lifeline and a last-ditch effort to hold on to something before it slips away for good. As the Abbott family faces the unraveling of years of strained relationships, Diane's painful confession and Jack's surprising reaction set the stage for an uncertain future. Will Diane be able to fully integrate into the Abbott family, or will her secrets and fears keep her on the outside, forever longing to belong? Jack's commitment to make things work may be tested in ways neither of them can predict, and the emotional fallout from this conversation could change the course of their lives forever. As the Abbott family prepares for more upheaval, Diane and Jack's relationship hangs in the balance. Can they overcome the weight of the past, or will the secrets, lies, and unspoken fears continue to tear them apart? Only time will tell. In the days to come, Jack's decision to involve Diane in sensitive family matters will test not only their relationship but the very fabric of the Abbott family. Will Diane's growing awareness of the family's darkest secrets push her even further away, or will she rise to the occasion and become the integral member of the family she so desperately wants to be? The stakes have never been higher, and the fallout from Diane's confession will undoubtedly have a ripple effect throughout Genoa City, touching every member of the Abbott family in unexpected ways. As Tracy and Ashley prepare to leave, the Abbott family will be forced to confront the delicate balance between love, loyalty, and the painful truths that have long been hidden. Can Diane find her place in this fractured family, or will the weight of the past prove to be too much for even Jack to handle? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the Abbott family is about to face its greatest challenge yet.